You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with, not the Geek Squad, I would say, but Revenge of the Geeks, I guess is what we've been calling it.
Geeks.
Was it part? It's part 2, the second coming.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I want to get out of the way is with Chris. Why do you fill your coffee up so much before we do a podcast?
I fill it up to like almost the brim, and then I like to chug my coffee, so I normally put in like 3 to 4 ice cubes. And then it just overflows and spills all over your house, man.
But you don't sip it so it stops overflowing. You just wipe it, like pick up the cup and keep cleaning up the mess. So then it constantly keeps spilling until half the coffee's on my floor or table.
Until it's at a good level to start sipping. Don't give me that look.
I'm so many thoughts are running.
It doesn't even need to
my
make
head right now.
It doesn't need to make sense. You just have to know that I'm not going to give up defending myself, and it's going to sound even more complex and retarded as we go along.
And then you just get up multiple times and use paper towels, but you don't use it like a normal person where they rip a bunch of them off. You just grab like one square, fold it a bunch of times.
You gotta save money, man.
How am I going to save money if you keep spilling coffee everywhere? I got to go out and buy another roll of paper towels.
I used 3 paper towel pieces for 2 spills. That's good.
You can't ingest the weak liquids that spill out of the coffee cup. If they spill out, they're not worthy of being in your body.
Is that how you do it? If they don't stay in the cup, they're not worthy.
Yeah, see that? I just grabbed that with the force of fucking Zeus, and it all stayed in there. You want to know what that means? I can drink
it. It means the coffee's at a good amount of level where a normal person would pour it up to.
Well, see, and now some people say that volume.
You're a lid man, aren't you? You're a lid man, aren't you?
No, I fucking hate lids. I also hate straws. Yeah.
Lids are they keep the weaklings in the cup.
Exactly. If you're not spilling everywhere as you're walking around, then you're not doing it right.
Hopefully everyone has got the full aspect of what this podcast is probably going to be most likely about. I don't think we're coming to any really smart basis conclusion, but we might surprise ourselves in
the
a way.
Volume of a coffee cup.
You see, the double slit experiment has proved that light photons behave differently based on whether or not they're being observed, which, aside from all of the jarring implications of that, means that matter has sentience, meaning if it doesn't stay in the cup, it's a bitch.
Yeah,
and does not deserve to be ingested.
So, when are you going for your teaching degree, Evan? Because you're a very good, powerful teacher. I'm at about this level of coffee. Let me get down to a little bit lower of a level, and then maybe we can have a functioning conversation dealing with the whole aspects of life in general.
Well, we can talk about this cup of coffee in particular.
For 2 hours.
Probably. Because there's volume in a cup, there is a spherical shape with... What would you even consider the handle? What shape is this? What geometry is this?
You know what's really weird is that that's an object, and that's something that we created. Does your mind go to that at all?
Every time I see a square, I think of how strange it is because squares are not found in nature.
Well, it just fascinates me how, like, there's these things like, what's a coffee cup? Who had the idea to have a coffee cup? That obviously stemmed from someone trying to carry liquids.
Yeah, someone was like, goddamn,
because coffee, you need it every day. You need your energy on the go. It needs to not spill.
But who decided to pick a coffee plant, the coca beans, and then ground it up into coffee? Does anybody ever look into this factor? This is stuff I need to start looking up for fill in the blank, because this stuff, like, people don't even really know the true history behind.
We could do one of these days.
It's the same thing with Somalian pirates. You know about Somalian pirates?
No, what about
My
them?
brain made this conclusion because, like, the cocoa beans, well, they chew this ginkgo-type bean type thing. It's basically meth, and they're methed up, the Somalian pirates. That's why they're so skinny and jacked. But, you know, they're actually called the volunteer fire department of Somalia or something like that, because they were actually all fishermen. But people kept throwing dynamite into their waters and blowing up their fish, so they were losing money and they were losing food. and ruining the whole ecosystem, which eventually turned them into pirates, where they started capturing vessels and stuff. Basically, it's like a anarchy type thing. They did it to rise up against our government.
Sounds like a D&D campaign.
But it's weird because when you look at like giant like corporations like this or something that is like jacked up on drugs or something. Same thing with the kamikaze pilots in Japan. They were all hooked up on meth. Did you know that? That's how they would get them. It literally took them to the point of being on meth to go down and crash the plane.
I also knew that social pressure was a big factor in that, because if you're told, are you willing to die for your country, and you're around a bunch of honor-driven people, you're not going to be the guy to stand out and say, no, I'm not going to die for my country. So, yeah, and then, I mean, I'm sure when they went to fly the planes to make it easier on themselves, they just got all doped up and shit. Make it easier.
You kind of have to, in some way, where we say we can lay our lives in the country. I don't think I would be able to do it without a certain type of drug in my body.
Lay your lives to the country, literally, like they say it to everybody, but you know a dude in the Air Force.
The thing is, even soldiers, you're not like killing yourself for your country, you're fighting for it.
Yeah, like you're willing to die still.
You can still fight for your life. It's not like...
Pretty sure if you're in a plane going at a high speed down into a ship...
That's the big difference.
You're not fighting for your life at that point.
That's his point. Like, they knew before launch that they were going to die. They knew it. If someone gets into a plane in the U.S., they're like, okay, well, I maybe have like a 2 out of 10 chance that if I go into a war zone, I'll be shot down. Right? Like, that's a pretty fair estimate. Like, okay, I have 2 out of 10 chances to die. These dudes knew when they launched the planes, they had a 10 out of 10 chance of dying.
Because if they were being shot down, they were just to aim with their plane. Like,
does that lead into the aspect of government and brainwashing?
Yes.
Now that's a form of brainwashing, much like social media is, but there's many different forms of it.
The honor system is not like oh, you know, just promise to pay me $5 for blueberries. I'm saying like the whole way that the Japanese culture was set up at the time is that social pressure of, if I don't volunteer and be a good citizen for my government, I am not giving my family honor.
Where do you see brainwashing done today?
Today?
Like specific countries?
Here?
I can think of one right off the back, North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea is the most, like, jarring example.
They have restricted television channels.
They have their own operating system to be censored in every aspect.
It was like just an article that came out like a year or two ago that they accidentally, their internet went live for everyone in Korea to see. Mm-hmm. So it was like only like 3 minutes or something, but everyone got to see what the full length of the internet was for like 3 minutes. And it's like they're blocked off. They don't even know what's going outside of their own city or whatever. And it's like, to believe that, that's definitely a form of brainwashing or controlling. But now, I'm not talking about brainwashing when it comes to like the Nazis' idea of brainwashing, more like being able to electroshock therapy and electroanalysis and all that stuff, being able to, you know, use that common thing we use in psychotherapy with shock therapy.
Nazis did both, though. Because Nazis had all their wacky future of human race, like, we're evil experiment kind of things. But then they also had just the North Korea kind of brainwashing where, making the Jewish, like, scapegoats and that kind of thing. And
that was basically Hitler. Hitler was the blowhorn. That was like they're trying to put their image out through him. But I mean, Nazis did a bunch of stuff from experimentation. Yeah. I've been getting real interested in just looking at all the secret files and facts that are out there.
Project Paperclip?
I did look up Operation Paperclip, if you want to explain that to some people.
Dude, it is crazy. It's pretty much like, hey guys, I know that you might have killed a lot of people, and I know that you might have performed cruel and unreasonable experiments on people, but hey, the U.S. is looking for scientists. You know, why don't you just come join us? We'll just drop your charges.
It wasn't just the United States. We got a total of, I think, it was either 1,500 or close to 2,000 Nazi German.
I focus on the U.S. mainly because it's like, first we cut off supply lines, and who are the first people they're going to stop feeding? Well, the concentration camp.
They got split up everywhere. They actually got split up into multiple, like, Soviet Union got some. Everyone was working them because everyone thought they could boost their efforts, especially like with Cold War.
And they did.
And yeah.
Yeah, if we didn't do that, we might have lost the Cold War. We might be living in commie land right now.
Do you think it might be better than what we're living in now?
I don't think
we would have had a revolution soon.
Yeah, because
and it would have been very
that communist kind of world would not have lasted until the year 2019.
I think a world without
it would have been
a world without the overspending boomers, where we've already had a revolution and stated what we want as a country all over again, would have been a very good thing.
It might have been good.
Extremely good thing. Then we wouldn't have also have taken war criminals under our wing. We wouldn't have... I mean, the whole history of us cutting off supply lines and actually killing Jews because of it would be wiped. Have you ever heard about that? How we cut off German supply lines?
Yeah.
Well,
there are many secret plans on... escape tunnels that were for Germans to escape during World War II. Mm-hmm. And one of the main ones, I can't think what it is, it's like Operation Sergo or something like that, but was like an escape tunnel that we built for them to escape to us so we could have their scientists without any media coverage or anybody finding out that we were using their own scientists, leading to Operation Paperclip. And it's hard to think that if we were doing something like that, but it's the same thing when it comes to Unit 731 for Japanese forces, when you're dealing with all these camps and people that are using, they're chopping people's arms off and sewing it to the other side of their body while they're still alive, not giving them any anesthesia, doing all these types of experimentations much like the Nazis did. And we pardon them because we use their information. That's the only reason. You give us your research, everything that you've made, we'll pardon you for your war crimes.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you... Well, that's not even war crimes at that point. It's like, oh, it doesn't matter that you commit crimes against humanity. The fuck? Just share your research with us.
Have you heard of General Butt Naked?
No.
You know what General Butt Naked did?
No.
You want to guess?
He was butt naked all the time?
Nope. He actually used to eat babies because he believed in his religion that he used to... by killing, you could harvest something from the baby, basically, or whatever. And the only reason he discovered that, but we pardoned him because he turned into a Christian. So
no, everything's fine.
Now that he believes in God, everything's fine. Well, the only reason that he was in some country or something, and some dude was serving human flesh, and he knew what it was because he had it before, and he called this person out, and it became like a big thing. But it's like. But still, this guy killed millions of babies and ate... Well, not millions, but, hundreds of babies and ate them. If he did not
spend the rest of every single day being a good person to everyone around him, he doesn't deserve to live. That's my personal opinion.
That sounds like a hardcore Catholic Christian to you.
No. That's called being a human being. And, a dude's eating fucking babies, man. Eating fucking babies.
Yeah, but you can't compare that to being nice to everyone out there every single day, because some people are dicks.
Some people are dicks, but don't you deserve at that point, if you've eaten babies and committed crimes against humanity, to be nice to people who are even dicks?
In that case, are you talking about him?
I'm talking about him.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about for people in general. I was like, if I run into some dude that's a dick, I'm gonna.
I mean, someone decides to kill a bunch of babies. I think he should get the death sentence, but
I think
they didn't give it to him. So.
Maybe he felt like if he was super nice to people or changed his personality at all, and people might think that he was doing something. You didn't see Bill Cosby change his personality. You can compare that to Bill Cosby. Tell me he becomes the mass...
Did Bill Cosby lead a Japanese...
No, but he was drugging women and having sex with them while falling asleep. And apparently, he wanted people to tuck him in at night. Yeah, and he used to love to pay people to sit down and watch him eat curry.
Oh.
These are reported stories.
Well, maybe someone needs to enact revenge on him. And I'm not going to give anybody ideas.
But he didn't change his personality at all, so no one even thought that Bill Cosby could be the ultimate, serial rapist of all time.
No, and I'm not saying you change your personality before you're caught, because you're most likely a fucking psychopath anyway. So
before he was caught, he was doing it for 40-something years.
That's what I'm saying. If he changed his personality during that 40 years, people would have caught him earlier. But after he's caught, now it's like you should face the punishment for your actions. Yeah, he's... going to jail and all that jazz, but or maybe I don't know. He was in lawsuits. What happened with him?
No, it finally got convicted.
He did get convicted.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going away.
So yeah. So now
he's away already.
He's being punished for his crimes. Oh well. Shit happens. But you're telling me that we can't compare Bill Cosby to a man who eats babies, because a man who eats babies got off the hook, and Bill Cosby, rape isn't fun, but it's nothing compared to eating newborn children. That is
okay. But
you have a newborn child though.
You're not taking it in.
And this is all depending on the way you view human life too.
You have a
kid?
The way you just said that made it sound like you have a kid. I was like, what the fuck?
No, he's being theoretical here.
Yeah, because because I'm undecided one way or the other. If you believe abortion is fine, then like up to a certain extent.
There was just a bill got passed that they're accepting late term abortion.
I think that's messed up.
Late term, like baby's almost here. You still have the option.
Yeah, see, I think that it should be every individual's choice, but you have to live with that choice. You know what I mean?
I don't believe that if it's a thinking baby, or not really thinking, but it's developed.
Because it depends
just
on the way you think.
Just because it's not out yet, you can't decide that she needs to go down the stairs. You know what I mean?
I don't know enough about baby development.
We don't know enough about the consciousness
By
of
like
humans.
6 months, I'm pretty sure the heart is like functional and beating.
And
that's the last thing that comes online.
The heart is functional and beating. So is like a cow. At that, like an adult cow is smarter than a 6-month-old baby. I'm sure. But do you believe that baby has a soul? I don't know. What is consciousness? When do you attain such a thing?
Why do we eat cows in the first place?
Exactly. It's
because they don't have eyebrows.
Would be eating a baby be on the same mental level as eating a cow?
When you look at your dog,
yeah,
and you see his face,
yeah,
or your cat, you can tell their facial expression, right? So that gives you the belief that they have emotion and that they have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a cow, nothing, no fucking eyebrows.
Yeah, that's kind of
Goldfish, no fucking eyebrows. You don't give a shit when your goldfish dies.
But you know what?
That means the dogs have probably just evolved that way, because they've evolved to make us feel like, yeah, we have emotion. Give us food.
There are literally 9 animals that are closely, basically, to us. Apparently pigs are more in close relation to us than monkeys. Did you know that? That's why we use pig parts instead of monkey parts.
Well, I knew that thickness-wise, if you're testing weaponry, pigs are the best ones to use.
If your heart valve goes out, they're going to put a pig valve in there before they put a monkey valve in there. Our DNA is so closely more similar to a pig than it is to
I know that we synthesize insulin from pigs.
See, we're very closely related to pigs. But there are literally 9 animals, 3 of which we consider food, and the rest we do not.
Mm.
So the other 6 are considered pets, but chicken, pig, and cow.
Mm-hmm.
Those are what we consider food. Now, why is that established? No one knows. Who decided to eat the first cow?
I mean, I've played with
it all depends on what you believe in. If you believe in a soul,
but you can link that to the dude eating the babies. Maybe that's his cultural development or his environment or his religion that he was raised upon, where eating babies is right, and he didn't understand the difference between right or wrong.
And
what's our view of what's right or wrong based on society's standards?
Because did he think he was consuming the child's soul while he was doing that, or did he just think this isn't a human yet?
That was his religious belief.
No, but he was a part of a nation that was involved in a world war, and he still had this religion telling you something about him and his background, and telling you something about the Japanese management at the time. So why did they get forgiven for all of their war crimes? And other places, why did Nazi scientists get forgiven and others didn't? It's like you said, the whole information thing, but fuck, man, that's kind of shitty, okay, so we're gonna put this guy in power, right? Yeah, okay, go on. Yeah, he likes to eat babies. Oh, okay. Yeah, and he kind of likes to torture people too. Fascinating. Okay, yeah, just throw him in there. It's like, what the fuck? Come on.
What about the Nazi generals that didn't eat babies? And they're just Nazi generals.
Are they better?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you have to really think about that. It's not...
Because if he genuinely believes eating children is good, then... Like, it's not a personal thing at that point. You just have to be like, your beliefs just are not conducive to modern society. You have to go. You
have never made a valid thought in your life until you decided to tell me you are Christian. Because you ate babies prior to this. Like, he could have said any religion.
How do you get forgive for your sins about eating babies?
That's what I'm saying. He could have said, I'm Pastafarian now, as long as, no matter what he said at that moment, it's like,
hey,
you used
Pastafarianism.
You used to be pagan. I'm saying that's a
I
better
changed your mind on it.
Dude, I've had my mind changed. You reminded me, and thank you so much for that.
Can't believe we had a 55-minute podcast on Pastafarianism.
It is so good, though. Like, I'm about to buy the certificate and wear it around my neck like a chain. That'd be a great time.
Just hook a meatball to your necklace or something.
I've never looked into Pastafarianism.
We're not going to get into it because there's just too many things.
Yeah, I'll go back and listen to that podcast.
Yeah, dude, it's all doozy and a half.
It just really highlights the aspect of if you educate yourself on a certain subject or something, it can change your perspective on everything in general.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like for that series, there are so many topics to cover of, and I can just keep posting up new stuff. I mean, my new one went up, and it was about Slender Man, so it's like, you know, that involves so much. It's a myth, and it's fiction. Everyone knows it's fiction. It's been proved that it's fiction. But so is Scientology, basically. But apparently that's real thing. Even though we know that the dude's alive, we know, but I don't see it as...
Dude, you gotta stop dropping Scientology in here before they send the army of lawyers at you.
I'm pretty sure they have probably better people to go
Scientology
after.
has the lawyers of Hollywood because Scientology is Hollywood. Like...
It's
crazy.
It's kept Tom Cruise alive, though.
It all leads up to the conspiracy theories. And that's all... I don't understand the whole aspect of conspiracy theories, because one of the biggest ones was Bob Lazar with the UFOs and everything, and that just came out in December of 2018, and he was 100% correct.
Where did you see that? The 100% correct thing.
The gravity wavelengths.
Oh, yes.
Remember?
Okay, yeah.
Well, his documentary just came out in December.
And that's not like 100% correct. That's just kind of like...
Well, because
the biggest fucking deal is correct. Yeah,
scientists aren't... The whole point is that they're not right all the time. Because you get gravity wavelengths right. Does not mean you got UFOs right. Like...
But this dude back in the 80s, right? We first synthesized this material in 2003. This dude back in the 80s was talking about element 115 unsynthesized. Like the purest form. And everyone was like, dude, you're crazy. Anti-gravity, what the fuck is this guy talking about? How did he... if he came up with this, he was reaching into Pandora's box. Because it's either you're reaching into Pandora's box or you saw it. Because what are the odds of you guessing that there's a new element and being completely correct in 2018 about it? That there's
basically
very
40 years
odds.
before, too.
Yeah, with very minimal... He doesn't have an education on his in his name right now. Why? Because it was wiped. He doesn't have an education. How does an uneducated man make a guess that an element exists that doesn't?
You know what baffles my mind? Is to think that there couldn't be another extraterrestrial thing out there that could have stumbled upon us, that might not have, but there's definitely something out there. I forgot what they call it's the Goldilocks zone, but I forgot the true definition of the... You know what the Goldilocks zone is?
Yeah, so the Goldilocks... It refers to the Goldilocks conditions, and it means you need to be a certain amount of distance away from the sun for the planet to be warm enough to sustain life, but cool enough Like it's the perfect temperature to sustain life. It's like Earth. So
it's based off the 3 bears principle, where one's too hot, one's too cold, and one's just right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same conditions we look at planets, but scientists have a theory that every, like, if there's, 8 planets or something, it's the 5th one closest to the sun or something, or to the heat source is the planet that could sustain life.
It's not a certain amount, like an order. You could have one planet that happens to be orbiting the perfect distance around a star. That's the correct.
It's probably just like that perfect distance.
It's just the distance.
If there's more planets than our solar system has, then how do we know?
Depending on the kind of star it is too, because different stars generate a different amount of heat. So
a lot of variables and all that jazz.
So, but in a theoretically infinite universe. In a theoretically infinite universe, there's another group of us on another planet somewhere out there doing the same thing right now. So, like, another Robbie from Maryland is doing a podcast, like, an unknowable amount of distance away on another copy of Earth out there, because there is a theoretically infinite distance.
Hold on a second. Did you just release my unidentified location?
Yeah, everyone is a space traveler.
Gonna get the aliens coming down here. And first of all, my one question for the whole alien debate is, why are they so obsessed with your ass? Why is the information in your ass?
You said this before. I think it's because that's the last point that data transfers through. If you were to think about it in terms of data, you have entry through the mouth, and then energy processing all the way through.
But wouldn't you want to get it, like, in the middle?
You probably would. But who's to say that an
Well,
alien probe
if you were an
doesn't fall all the way
alien,
up there?
you'd probably want to dissect a human rather than
Yeah.
probe it.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
Isn't it, like, the same thing? Because many accounts from
'cause
people that have been abducted have explained different scenarios where they have been probed and they have been tested on, and they all have the same idea of laying on a table and a bright light and not being able to, like, kind of like a dysphoria of not being able to analyze the person's face. But then some of them talk about reptilian creatures, and, there's been presidential, like, speeches and stuff like that where they actually have mentioned, like, it's hard to think that we're the only ones out here, like, Hillary was talking about how she would get down to the bottom of the giant Roswell alien conspiracy type thing, but
we would. So, imagine a race of alien creatures, an alien civilization that had the technology to create such long distance space travel that because it would probably have to be the same person. You couldn't just have, like, our level of space travel and, like, pass by and care enough about one group of... Unless we are rare. But you'd probably need a race, like a civilization that could space travel faster than light. Like several times faster than light to get to the places you need to go around the galaxy or universe and get the information you need. Or just... they're just exploring as a race of explorers, or something. Why, like, they could, like, that kind of race, why would they even, like, they probably have healing technology well beyond our point. They could probably, like, kill us and examine each part of our body and then, like, put us back together and be fine. Like,
we still use radio waves. I have no reason why a sophisticated race would even want to say hi to us.
Yeah.
Like, we're primitive in their eyes. We sent out a radio signal into space.
Do you ever think about all the missing people might be aliens abducting and using it like how we raise cows and stuff for slaughter? They just use us as, like, a farm source. They just use us to test and do all their experiments on us.
And, to be frank, I don't think an intelligent alien civilization would want to use us as a farm source.
Why do we think of ourselves as intelligent, and we're testing on animals and other people as well?
See, the thing is, we've developed civilization. I don't think an alien race would just pass on by and, like, see us, even with all the proven, like, civilization. We've been in space. Like, we're obviously not, like, pack animals anymore.
The former
senator, we're not, like, cows.
The former senator for the Defense Department of Canada literally came out in a quote saying that there are 3 aliens that are, like, tall, white beings, and 2 work for the government and 1 works in another secret department. He came out in a quote saying that. So, you take it where it stands, what he said. You know, you're taking it from another person's perspective, but it does. There is a little bit of traction where a lot of this stuff does come up, where people say it's a conspiracy theory. A lot of people say, I believe, reading more into the New World Order. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Oh yeah, dude. President Bush was all for that.
Okay, well, it's hard to believe that somewhere down the line, someone didn't make a secret society. I mean, we still have a secret society based on an old secret society, Knights of the Templar, which is the Freemasons. Mm-hmm. And, whatever happens there, or it's like the Seven or something like that, the Seven Society, you know what that is? And the only way after they die or whatever, you can only be killed off, basically, in the Seven Society, but there's seven of them based on... forgot what the basis was. But it was based on the planet. So there's Earth, Mars, and each one is an individual thing. And when they die, there are flowers that are placed on the body in the shape of a 7.
Oh.
So it's like that's a conspiracy thing, and that's known in like West Virginia. There's secret cults like that. Mm-hmm. And then what about the Illuminati? The whole backstory to every natural disaster has something that happens like that. Is it hard to believe that there is something secret working in the mix when we're undercovering basically the smallest of secrets, but in our eyes it's so huge, like the government doing all these experimentations that's coming out? Is it hard to believe that there's something even bigger out there than that?
There's demonic sacrifices that happen in the government, and that's something that has been documented. Where, like, they'll have cuts all in down their arms. I mean, they always wear suits, so who the fuck cares?
But what are they really doing at those meetings besides buying strippers and stuff?
I'm sure there's hundreds of real ALMAO secret societies. I doubt they do anything
does that scare
worthwhile.
You, though? Like,
not really.
But no, it doesn't scare you that we're in a country that's supposed to feel like we're 100% free, but we could be just as closed off as North Korea, just not as publicized. Yeah. Maybe it's because all their secrets are out in the open. They don't have secrets.
What I find scary is we had a hurricane coming towards New York during the 9/11 attacks, and it just said, nope. Turned around. Look it up. It decided a hurricane, a natural disaster, decided to take a complete 180 during the 9/11 attacks.
I'll be honest. If it comes out that, like, we've had weather control this entire time, like, it is a disquieting thought that the government would be, like, lying about that this whole time, about not having it. But, like, I'd be more comforted now that, like, oh, well, even if they had to be quiet about it this whole time, now we don't have to have hurricanes anymore.
But like the alien thing, if they didn't have aliens the whole time and it was really just the Department of Psychological Warfare, they came out saying, we were fucking with you guys this whole time, people are going to be pissed.
People will be pissed, but now we have weather control.
No, with weather control, though, it's like, oh, hey, you know those natural disasters that destroyed entire cities?
Because if we had the technology to turn around
now that we have weather control, we've always had it, apparently, if you say it like that. But, I mean, I would be pissed because, like, why didn't you share this stuff earlier?
Why did you let these cities die? You let people die.
Yeah.
For being
it would mean this entire administration who revealed it would be kicked off.
That's why they would.
But they'd be replaced. Because if it came out, then, like, you'd be pissed. But then you get new people in there, some fresh minds, who now have weather control.
I'm changing the title of this group to the Conspiracy Theorists.
That's a good one.
You should call it the Free Thinkers.
You could, because
that's a good one.
I think you could take me down as, like, not afraid of conspiracies. More,
I wouldn't
because if they exist,
but
then,
I feel like they're not telling us any of this secret stuff, and when we find it out, we're so appalled and shocked and so devastated, is because they were trying to hurt our feelings, much like your parents do when they explain to you Santa Claus. They want to keep that little mystery in there. And then, their heart breaks when they finally tell you, especially if you're way too early. And it's just like, you see the basically hopelessness and like humanity fade from their eyes for a minute.
Why do we look at the government as parents, as people that we cannot ourselves control? Meanwhile, the government was made by the people for the people.
See, when you look at the government,
such a broad.
The thing about me with conspiracies, people in general are too stupid to, like, actually run a conspiracy of that level. Like, there's so many people that would have to be involved in a government situation like that to keep quiet technology like weather control.
That's why the Department of Psychological Warfare exists, though. They have an entire department based on, okay, so whatever's going on in Area 51... if there are or there aren't aliens, we're going to make people think that there are, so we have a way to diverge everything that is picked up on radio frequencies, everything that is picked up from satellite. We could just say, guys, it's aliens, right? Like, that's their whole scapegoat for that. And like with weather control, if we ever found that out, they'd come up with something, and the people would buy it. Almost guaranteed.
It leaves me baffled, because if you think of the movie Hellboy, and you think of that whole secret organization of government where it's like, it's hard to believe that in the central intelligence that we have, there's not another secret level that no one at the highest level of security, its secret intelligence, does not know about. It's hard to think that there's not another level under that's like underground or something where they have to focus and have these type of monsters or experiments, something that from... Out of all the testing and genetic stuff we do, there's definitely a giant secret operation.
The weird shit.
I'd be more comforted if we had some level of government that was at least prepared to possibly handle something.
You know what I wouldn't be opposed to is the fact that if we had an honest form of government, I'm talking about like a secret organization that's honest. So, like, they're in front of the TV, and we just ask them, is this real? Is this real? Is this real? Is this real? I'm not going to confirm or deny that factor, give them that answer. No, none of that. Just yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, no, yes,
but
no.
But at the same time, then all of our enemies know.
Because we're working against people, secrets are an unfortunate necessity.
But it goes on the factor of belief, where you say, then all of our enemies know. They think it anyway. They think we're doing that shit. You can't tell me that they're not doing the same exact thing in Russia. Dude, if I say, or if you have a feeling that I'm doing something that you want to be doing, you're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of thing. It's that belief or that,
But
just because they have
colliders and nuclear fusion, right? Like, right now I believe that Russia's the leader. If we had a spy in the Russian facility, we'd be able to grab that information. If Russia came out and said, yeah, we're making stars on Earth, bitches, it makes it that much easier to say, okay, so they are actually doing this, let's dump resources into it. You know what I mean? It's so much easier when you can confirm something.
Literally, nuclear pursuit for weapons was initially started at the belief that another country was developing something else higher in war standards. Mm-hmm. Its design was to annihilate anything. It was designed to end all wars in a way, or end the war that was going on, to win the battle. But just because we started researching it, then the other country comes over and sees us researching it. Oh, well, we got to be doing this too. Then our little paranoid schizophrenia, where it's like, that person's researching this, we got to be on top of it. We got to go even faster. It builds this type of curiosity that keeps leading us into like some in my opinion the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But if we start believing that everyone's working on nukes, we're going to try even harder to work on them. It's the same thing with the space race. You tell me they're going to China, why aren't we doing that? Mm-hmm. We're not China going to the moon. It's like, why aren't we not doing that? And then we're building all this stuff to get there. It's like we're putting all this resource and effort to be the first one on there. Why does everyone want to be the first at something?
Because we have to show our dick size, dude.
Do you want to know why
you don't
people...
want to be the second guy that climbs Mount Everest or something. That'd be a little bit. I finally made it, and there's like a flag already there.
Russia could have won the Cold War overall, and we'd still be able to sit here and say we won the fucking space race. That's what it means.
It's true.
Even though they were the first person to send an astronaut up into space.
First person to send an astronaut, but they didn't fucking land. Losers.
Yeah, how are you going to go up there and not land?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you...
Be like, look, man, we don't have...
Let's just shoot a guy into space.
We don't have... we don't have the resources for you to be able to actually get onto the moon, but if you actually just want to just commit suicide and take that meth in your pocket and just jump out the...
As he's flying up into space, they're like, yeah, Dimitri, I forgot to tell you, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to float in space till you starve. It's like, oh, well... Guess I'm in Russia. You know, it's like a sitcom. They're like,
yes, I'm eating
Russia's just a fucking
food.
fucked up sitcom.
Do you want to know why people like Star Trek? It's not because it's space sci-fi, like weirdly enough. It's not just that, at least. Because I love Star Trek, and I might just be like a faux nerd. Like I'm like a poser. Because I don't like it for the, like, weird space aliens or anything like that. I like it because it's an optimistic future for the human race.
It's a fantasy aspect.
And the way they got to where they are in Star Trek, because it is an optimistic future, because at that point in the show, they've met aliens, they've got faster-than-light space travel, warp speed, they can, like...
Well, they're at a level that
humanity at the point in Star Trek, they have evolved past needing to work for, like, they don't need to work anymore because they have replicators that make food, material, like they have effectively infinite energy. They've become a race of explorers, and they got to that place because they had a World War III. And then developed a world government. So it's humanity working towards the future instead of humans working against each other.
Well, it's the fantasy aspect is what I'm saying. We think we should be at that point, and we're so interested at that point of Star Trek being able to go anywhere in space and being able to do things we cannot do. It's the same thing where if you want superpowers, it's the same thing if you said you wish you could be God. It's all of that stuff. It doesn't matter. It just changes different themes.
One is more tangible than the other.
Okay, but it's
the tangible aspect of Star Trek. It's the post-scarcity. The thing to strive for the human race to get to that level is post-scarcity, where resources are not scarce anymore. Like, so you wouldn't have to work to not starve to death.
We can already synthesize food for
nearly
free.
We're getting there.
It'll take a
possible.
paradigm shift, though.
It will. It'll take, like, something's got to give. In Star Trek, it's World War III. Unfortunately, that is the most believable change in our society.
When everyone's pointing nukes at each other and we have to agree, like, wait a second.
Or, like...
Hold on. Do we want total nuclear annihilation, or do we want to become one big old nation?
That was the whole idea of the United Nations, was supposed to be a group organization or whatever with all of our
but when not
main powers coming together.
agrees...
But it was supposed to be Soviet Union. It was supposed to be a bunch of other like countries that aren't involved into it being all together in one because of some disputes with other. I won't sit next to him. I won't sit next to him. It's like this is literally supposed to be. Like, even at this age, we look at them as the government as a mature system, something that controls us.
They're not.
But it's like, they're a kid with a crayon, too. They're still drawing and,
the biggest realization
themselves.
Is that, oh, wait, people in government don't know what they're doing? Oh, no.
The government doesn't know how to run shit?
What's ridiculous to me...
That's why a lot of conspiracies, to me, are like, no.
What's ridiculous to me
like,
is people
they're actually too inept.
Do you believe they're making us all bland and dumb? Trying to dumb us down to this being very similar?
Look at...
I believe that the most inspirational people and the creative people, that get highlighted through history are people that outrage against the government because they feel like they're being put on a hold or a lock. You know what I mean? It feels like the government tries to squash any small little ember of anything that has a type of creative passion because it's not in their form or in their standards.
So then they join liberalism, and then they lose themselves, and they decide to use their creativity to harm others instead of become better. Or they're too logical, and then they join Republicans, and then they become so goddamn bland that they're not themselves anymore. You lose either way, and people always fall into the two pits.
Yeah, like where you're talking to like Jerry one day, and Jerry's just like, "Hi, how you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
Like just all completely bland. You're like, "Oh, what happened to you?" And he goes, "Yep, I'm going to work now." Just like mindless robots. We're already kind of heading there right now, where we're just completely oblivious to our surroundings and beautiful nature. We used to care so much for this planet and the beauty and the colors and the feeling of like an object in your hand, like a table or a can, like just the substance. We used to take so many senses in, and I feel like one day we're gonna lose all of our senses, not just senses but emotion as well. We're going to be completely bland if we follow in this autopilot way of thinking that the government is throwing us towards. It's really hard not to think that.
When I was watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off last night.
You got all that from this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
kick it.
Because it's a beautiful movie. Because it's all about Ferris Bueller, like, eschewing all of what you just said and being like, fuck it, I'm not going to school today, I'm going to go and have the best day of my life. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around a little bit, you're going to miss it. That's the core of that movie. It's a beautiful movie. Seeing him affect his friends and the entire town around him with that, like, message, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's so good.
This really highlights one thing that's been on my brain, mostly because I was working on an art history paper that's due, like, a month from now, but at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I wrote the whole thing. It was, like, 3,000 words.
Jesus.
And that's probably why I slept for 10 minutes and didn't show up at my house. It was like, we're using psychoanalysis to describe two pieces of artwork. And one artwork, it's like, psychoanalysis is like, it can be used in so many forms. Basically, your subconscious and your, what the emotion and everything that you feel that something can invoke into you or something like that, and used in art, at least. So when you look at a painting, it's your first initial emotional and creative and inspirational, like everything that comes into your brain the first time you look at something. So I'm looking at these two photos, and they're ones of the top half of a person's face, like from like the nose up, and then like where her hair would be is a crinkled page, like so it's like paper folded. And then above that is like space and all these weird colors and clouds, sky shapes and stuff. And then the other one's a bowl of fruit. So the way my mind took it was creativity in the first one. And it started running with all these emotions leaking to like, it's obviously the creative aspect, but someone wearing a disguise for the paper on the face and stuff like that. Like it's, we're all walking around with a disguise. But psychoanalysis can be used in so many different ways. Like when you're just dealing with not just art, but like the beauty in everything. If you take the time to actually enjoy what your senses can do and enjoy what your body can do that we're completely oblivious to, you might be able to cut off this path or this self-destructive way of thinking that the government's trying to control you.
A lot of people start off on the wrong foot, though. I know legitimately every person...
Doesn't mean if you're on the wrong foot, you can't hop back onto the right foot.
But I don't know how to tell people how to. There's no way to figure out how that individual's...
But do you see that as your fault? Or do you see that as a problem you can't handle?
I see it as
maybe that's not your task. Maybe that's not your goal. Maybe that's not what you are here that you're good at. There are people that are good at fucking making furniture.
Yeah.
So they do that. I fucking suck at assemble furniture. I hate IKEA. Go to Rent-A-Center. Screw that too. Look, but it's the whole fact of I'm not good at it. Why would I do it? I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to put any time and effort to it. Bill Burr has a great bit about he doesn't look good enough to be in a porn, So he doesn't work out. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He's never going to have that body image, so he doesn't care. You know what I mean? It's that whole thing. He doesn't, there's no redhead porns. You know, well, there's a whole genre, but to him, it's like, that's not a common popular thing. So it's like, that's his whole bit. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Why are you going to do something you hate and you're shitty at that's making you fucking miserable? Maybe that's not making you miserable, but you're not good at it. I don't see the whole point in investing time in something you're not good at and don't want to do. What's the point? Do something you wish to do that you want to pursue in your life to make it happier. It doesn't make sense to chase down something that's just going to eventually
that is what life is, man.
Waste your time.
Doing that, that's how you do it. You do it yourself, and that's what inspires. You were Ferris Bueller at Katsucon, my dude. Like, that was you. Like, you were doing that, like, you were inspiring me, at least, without, worrying about it. Because just by existing and doing the things you want to do in that way, that's how you do it. It's like Ferris Bueller. Like, he just is himself and maybe makes a little bit of a concerted effort to show other people who need it. But, like, just by being that kind of person, you inspire people. You make people stop and look around when everything's going so fast.
What type of people?
People who are not on their luck. They're not feeling like their life's that meaningful. They're just going through life and not living it.
Are you calling me a motivational speaker?
You might be.
I fucking hope not.
Dude,
it's not a motivational speaker, it's a motivational liver.
Motivational liver?
Motivational human.
Yeah, like an alcoholic, yeah.
A motivational exister.
Yeah. Motivational existence. But actually, you know what though? With motivation.
Ferris Bueller is about a man with a motivational existence.
Yeah, that's true. Motivational speaking, though, I had a dude come into the casino and talk to every single employee there. Maybe one person was affected by his speech, and the guy walked off with $600 fucking dollars.
My buddy just won the Mercedes, whatever you guys have.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's nuts. And I had him on the podcast making fun of him about losing $600, and then 2 weeks later he wins a Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, man.
I told him to get him on the podcast and call it the Gambler Addicts Win.
Yeah, right. Don't tell people. Don't spread that message. Listen, dude, I work at a casino. Trust me. The house always wins. No matter what, the house... And I don't get any bonus for them winning.
Okay, well, if you said that to him, he would drive off in his Mercedes and say, yeah, okay.
The house always wins, and then there's the rare exception of someone who makes bank. Or, he entered a giveaway. He would not, if he played the house with none of that other stuff in mind, he would have maybe walked off with like a bathrobe from his points that he's accumulated. And that's about it. And he would have lost $600 for a $40 bathrobe.
Who's paying $40 for a bathrobe?
The casino problem.
You haven't seen The Big Lebowski. The dude's wearing like a $2 bathrobe.
Dude, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying.
You shopping at like Home Goods and shit where you spend the big bucks. You gotta be shopping at Dollar Tree where you're like $10 can feed
It's not me. The casino has an entire armada of people who buy things for the Players Club to say,
there are a couple people that work at the casino that listen to my podcast, so hopefully they know about this too.
Yeah, they do. Especially if they're in the Players Club.
They're not going to be like, Chris is talking shit.
No, I mean, they all know. They all know the house always wins. People most of the time, if they are listening to this, people most of the time, like we say, only 1% of America has a gambling addiction.
See, it's so
That's
funny.
Still millions.
Because the house always wins is such a pervasive phrase. Like, everyone knows the house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
But some people just don't believe it, I guess. Like,
it's the same thing with the mayor where they asked him if
it doesn't mean the people never win, but the house always wins in the end.
It's the same thing when they asked the mayor of, what is that fucking place? The one that smoked crack. And they asked him if he smoked crack.
Canada? Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. And he asked him if he smoked crack, and he said, nobody knows what was in that pipe. It's like, if you ask George Bush, you ever try cocaine? He goes, I do not recall ever trying cocaine. You would know! It's like, you would know if you tried cocaine.
George Bush, did you crash the planes into the Twin Towers to start the New World Order?
Not that I recall.
No, I don't recall that, no.
I don't
it wasn't
remember
a part of
that
my
exact
agenda.
hour and day.
So why did the planes crash exactly into the part of the Pentagon that had the moon landing footage? I don't recall why that would happen. Why are there no skid marks on the ground?
That's a terrible Bush impression.
Hey,
Dude,
Tony, why'd the planes crash right in the specific area with all the moon landing footage? Hey, Tony.
What is that, Boston?
Hey, Tony.
I think it's the Sopranos shit.
It was supposed to sound like Sopranos mixed with Boston.
Hey, Tony.
But much like we talk about where you're getting back to the baby eating and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Why is
so
that a
long ago.
thing? There's accents depending on where you live. This is all cultural environment where we talk about like someone's like how someone's personality is. Did you ever think like maybe you don't like that person? Maybe you just don't like the area that they're from. That's their culture.
Yeah, and I don't like people in like the Conga who fucking go and chop off women's clitorises when they turn 18. That is not cool. I don't think that's cool
their
at all. I
religion.
think they should be carpet bombed.
That's their
But that's just me. Exactly. No, and that's just me. There's people who legitimately hunt other people for sport in the jungle. It's ridiculous.
But the whole thing with carpet bombing, like, the kids don't believe that yet.
They will.
Because, it's
they're
all
raised
this
to know,
culture.
They're raised to know, my older sister who is 18, she's getting her clitoris chopped off. Fine, that's awesome.
People...
Well, we look at that as bad, but then we're circumcising and doing all this stuff here. Isn't that a form of that too?
When
It
they're
is.
children.
It's genitalia
Yeah.
mutilation.
It is. And I think...
What about in some parts where the rabbi...
It happened to me.
Hold on. What happens in some parts where the rabbi actually sucks the thing after they circumcise?
I know. Yeah. They're weird, and I don't think that they
It's
should.
strange.
But that's what they know.
I was circumcised, and my parents don't even, like, care
Evan,
that much.
I don't need to know this much about
It's just, like, I'm saying, like...
You can think of it as a therapy session, but don't get that open. I don't mind if you take a shit. But...
It's more the thing, like, it happened, and it wasn't for anything. My parents aren't that religious. It was just like they were just
not,
like,
it's not
do you want
necessary.
to do this to your baby?
But why is that
Sure.
normalized? Why do we have to follow like sheep so much?
It shouldn't be normalized, and it pisses me off that it happened to me for no reason. They didn't care.
You sound like you have some deep-seated emotion.
I'm pissed.
Oh Jesus!
Dude, they touched my pee-pee when I was a baby, man.
I didn't even get to fight back.
At least buy you a drink first, right?
Take me on a date before you chop my
Technically, they brought
fucking...
you into the world, so it's like
Yeah.
at that point they looked at you as your creator.
Yeah, but was that the best thing that
Do you believe in
happened?
reincarnation?
I don't.
Because this chalks up to some people believe that like the lights that you see at the end of the tunnel are you entering your next life, but it's supposed to be like you coming out of the womb and seeing the doctor's lights.
Ah.
Isn't that a crazy way to think of it?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different routes and no one knows the true evidence behind it.
So why don't
And
we have...
even if someone does have evidence on it, you're not going to believe it unless you see it for yourself.
Why don't we have a study that goes on then 3 babies born inside of a regular scenario, 3 babies born in low light, and get testimonies from the 2 of them when they've died and been revived.
But how do you remember coming into the world and seeing the light?
No.
Okay.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's too it'd probably be too baseless of a
you can take it in,
like of like a experiment just to like do.
Mm-hmm.
But like if something like that was done and it was like, the control baby who was born in the normal lit room saw a bright light, and the baby born in the very low light pitch black room saw blackness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Like, well,
you got to take it in different variations. There's the type of reincarnation where people talk about I am the reborn of, and they know their ancestor. They know they've had that connection or whatever it is that linked them to that. Usually it's like a DMT trip or something like that. spouting Joe Rogan knowledge with DMT, where you reach a type. He believes. Well, the way his description is that DMT or these psychedelic drugs that we have unlock like a lock on your mind. It opens up like a secret like creativity type thing in your mind where people say they've seen God. Maybe you need to get on that level to see God. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what the Native Americans believe with peyote when they see spirits and stuff. They believe that taking that was being able to get on this spiritual plane type of a level, much like in China where they take psychedelics to meet their ancestors or light candles and do all this stuff. Maybe their mind has been to that realm, but it's the same thing you can make a conclusion to when you smoke pot. Your brain is never the same again. It is not. Yeah. It is 100% different. I never did it that much, but I still there's still lingering stuff there where I've seen not crazy stuff, but I felt emotions and thought of stuff in a different way than how I would normally think if I never smoked it. So like the way I look at life, that might be why I see the beauty in the senses. You know what I mean? I might have took it in a good way, but there are definitely some things I took from it that are not a way a normal person in a way that doesn't do anything like that will be thinking. It's the same thing with alcohol. Any type of drug or thing that you use can change your perspective on anything or your aspect just on the world in general, whether it's for good or bad.
We need to take drugs off of the list of things to arrest people for and allow testing. Because the sooner that we find that out, the sooner we realize, oh, so we actually can do this. Or, no, this is just psychosis, Because, like with marijuana, you have a heightened sense of thinking. So you can definitely, and your senses are more defined, all that. That is something that I have first-hand experience in, where you have a heightened sense of everything you're doing. My brain function is at
brushing
a higher
your teeth
percentage.
Is a weird feeling.
Everything is a weird feeling. Looking at yourself, I looked at myself in the mirror and I saw a profile of my entire face, like not profile, but like the ink spots and all that. I could turn my facial shape into an ink spot right there, just with marijuana. And I believe that's because I'm dyslexic and my right and left brain work together very well. But other than that, that's just like, I know that heightens the brain function. I know that heightens senses. I know that heightens all that jazz. I don't have any first-hand experience with psychedelics, so I can't tell you one way or another, but I think that there should be tests done, because a lot of people in America do use them, and before they start saying comments that other people will follow on the bandwagon of because they've done them, we should know. And we should also know for a fact, does marijuana increase brain function, or am I crazy, and I'm thinking something that is not actually there,
Well, you hate people in the Congo, so I think you're crazy.
Clitoris choppers, man. Sympathize with the clitoris choppers.
What do we like to dress up as Halloween?
What do we like to dress up as Halloween? Clitoris choppers, man.
Exactly.
I know the sativa strain of marijuana makes your mind race, and that
It's supposed to present an energetic feeling, and then they call indica indica. Honestly, when I smoke it, I get the same effect from both.
Yes.
I have not experienced anything else.
Took both.
It's not the difference between LSD and taking cocaine.
I took both at the
Those
same
drugs
time.
have drastic changes.
And
you took LSD and cocaine at the same time?
Yes. Oh. No. Both types of marijuana at the same time. So it was the indica and the sativa. And the result is you're curled up in a ball with your mind racing. And you're super aware of, it's like someone your body as a machine.
The best way you can describe it is someone turning on Family Guy in your brain and then setting it to fast forward times 16 and then, constantly fluctuating with the color settings on the remote and then the brightness and the volume. So your brain is just running so many different thoughts. You're like, I should write all this shit down, but I can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It kind of limits because you can't put what you're thinking into words. There's no way to do that.
Your grasp for words seems farther out.
Yeah.
If you try and say a sentence, it's going to take because your brain's slowed too. Where it heightens your brain's thinking, it also slows down your skills and motors when it comes to, your brain sending senses and those types of impulses to your hands to move your fingertips. Like, that's a strange thing. No one even thinks about that much. Like, imagine your brain right now. So close your eyes. Imagine your brain. Now imagine sending signals to your fingers to move. That's your hand, Chris, not your... Okay. All right. Yeah, but think of it. Think of the little electricity going through your nerves and hitting your fingers.
Oh, yeah. And why can we control that so well? Like,
and I bet you could...
I could do here. I could do slightly angled.
But see, for someone that actually it starts to learn how to take time into the beauty of life and beauty of creation, can find the whole... They can go on that for an hour and a half. They can just sit there and just enjoy, like, thinking that they can, do that. I mean, how many times have we looked at our hand after watching iRobot or something and wish we had a mechanical arm or something like that was part robotic, looking at the backs of it, seeing the veins and wondering, am I a robot? We've all had that thought. It happens. It's the idea of we can be fascinated. Just someone has to change your perspective and outlook on something.
It's so easy to be nihilistic and, like, depressed and not impressed with the world as it is. It's easy to
not give a shit.
Yeah. When
sometimes
we're
it's
insane,
called for, but sometimes
we are insane creatures. Like,
the things we can do, yeah.
The things we can do just by, like, sending electrical pulses to, like, tighten and loosen our muscles and tendons, just doing these things, like...
We're literally giant bags of blood.
Yeah.
It's
blood, water, calcium...
Sacks of meat on a big old rock.
Yeah.
The fact that we can even... function without, if you just even think of that, that's going to make someone a nihilist where they just want to stay in the house all day. But, like, if you look at, like, our genetic makeup, all of our wants, needs, and then we start going, if you want to go down deeper into your family history, your genetics, maybe that's a sense of reincarnation where we talk about getting on drugs and going into sense. You are genetically made up, which so you are a recreation of your ancestors. But is there a way that you could maybe try an electrotherapy or a type of device like a VR helmet that could go into your head where it could link into your brain and search through your genetic codes? Yes, like joining into the Animus.
Yeah, man.
Being able to run through your ancestors' lives.
I feel like a lot of people are nihilists because they don't have that family background, though. In all honesty, like...
Well, there are definitely families that are not close together, and there are definitely families that are not, bonded together.
It doesn't even need to be like
whether
blood family. Everybody needs something. Everyone needs somebody.
You need a social connection. It's the reason why in the game Sims...
That's the way that you get over the fact that we are meat sacks on a big rock because there's other meat sacks on a big rock that you like.
Well, in the game Sims, they have literally an emotion level, and then they have a social level, they have a food level, they have water level, and it's all your basic needs. Everything you need to do to survive. If you don't eat, you're going to starve. If you don't shower, you're going to smell really bad and end up dying of some disease.
But in The Sims, you can brush your teeth for like 10 minutes over and over again, and your hygiene bar will go all the way up. Even if you don't shower, you could never shower in The Sims, and you'd be fine.
It's still hygiene. He's not getting scurvy. But it's like, with your social skill, they become super depressed, and then they end up like getting like depression thoughts and then not wanting to live anymore. You need to work on these small little factors, whether it's just going out and going to the store, buying something and going right back home because you don't want to be out. It doesn't matter. That's interaction. We need that every day, whether it's good or bad, whether it's a pissed off reaction that loses all faith in humanity or is one that restores it all. I still find it funny. Sometimes I'll stand on a bridge, look over just to enjoy the sight, and I'll enjoy it when some dude drives by and goes, do a flip, or jump. It's like, I'm just admiring the view. It's something like that where like that dude's obvious an asshole, but you got to take that situation and spin it around. Don't jump off the bridge. Stay on the bridge and think that was funny what he said.
Yeah, he was doing it as a joke. So
it's different for everyone, I'm sure, but like I've found personally that like one really good day has way more of an effect on your life than a really bad day.
Well, when you have a really bad day, it's not a bad day, it's a bad week, a bad month. When you have a good day, it's usually not longer than a day. There's not a second day that's good right behind it. usually.
I have
unless
a lot
you're
of
doing
good days,
unless you're doing some event. But they're not randomly back to back to back to back. Unless you're
It's
doing
more-
some type
it's
of
more-
event or you're on a trip.
I think
Because
for
you
me, I
have
don't
good
think about it
moments.
enough.
Because
That's the best way to
Yeah.
think. Don't overthink.
I don't think about it. I'm
yeah,
saying
exactly.
I go to work. I'm happy to go to work. That is my social interaction. I love my boss. You know, it's great. It's a good time. I get to see Bonzer on his breaks. It's a pretty cool time. Before that, I do things like this, and I enjoy my free time, and that's my life. You know, and I am okay with that. Sometimes, like Thursday, I have
You
off.
said Bonzer?
Yeah, Alex Bonzer.
Oh, dude, I'm trying to get his brother on my podcast.
Nick?
Bonzer?
Yeah. He doesn't want to do it because he thinks he's not interesting enough. I said, dude, you're interesting, man. Everyone's got something.
You could get Alex and Nick Bonzer on here. They both have a lot to say.
I do not think I want Alex on here.
Well, but either way, I think the whole thing is just take life in pieces and don't think about your next move, and you'll be a lot happier. But some people have to think about every move. I just get very lucky with it. And I know that any situation I'm put in, I can overcome
Sometimes
it.
people believe you got to stay 4 steps ahead, but like I told you earlier, that's not you, so you don't act like that.
Well, but
what works
can.
for you is going to work for somebody else.
It will one day. I mean, I'm a very rare case because I somehow think 4 steps ahead without thinking.
That works for you then.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It works for you, then you do it.
Mhm.
But someone else, that's not how it works for them.
I know. But I'm saying they need to find that inner peace and realize, okay, so I'm going to have to think about the shitty things that are coming my way, but I can make them work.
Well, whether you're worried about the future or not, it's not just when you're chasing down a job, or you're chasing down a career, you're chasing down. When you're going after your passion, you need to look at the passions of what links best with your actual needs and wants, your subconscious, your emotional, everything. It needs to be all that needs to be considered. It's a giant thing of self-enlightenment. When you come to a self-enlightenment moment, some people never get there. Most people never get there. But it's like when some people reach that level, it's a type of thing where you realize the small stuff will stop getting you frustrated because you realize you see the world in a bigger picture. There's no need to be worried about what Jim has, what freaking Jolita has, or it's none of that. You don't need to worry about the next bill. You don't need to be worried about that. Yes, it is an obstacle, but when you come to it, you will come to it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Think of your own way. The biggest struggle is those people that can't get the worry out, that can't feel
because they stress themselves and everyone else around
Anxiety?
Exactly. The one thing you do when you're super stressed out about something and you just can't handle it is when you start putting it out on others around you. It creates an aura of just hate and pain.
Mm-hmm.
And people pick up that hate and pain. Now it's the same thing we do in society. Everyone's just completely oblivious of others, setting off what seems to be like a hateful message to everyone.
Every day.
Like, don't say hi to him, he's an asshole, or don't say hi to him, he's in a bad mood. It's like, how do you know? Maybe he's having a tough time. Just like the Kyle Hines story where he's sitting on the bus just wishing while he was crying that someone could just say, have a nice day. And it would have stopped him from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. But he jumped off of it anyway. Or is it the Empire State? No,
It's people are horrible at the end of the day, and I just try to make the world a little better.
But why are we horrible?
I'm not.
Is it 'cause
I try not to be.
Is it because we're selfish?
Yes, people are very selfish.
You're
and they
not
look after
horrible?
themselves. I try not to be.
I guarantee you in someone's eyes I'm horrible.
You?
I guarantee.
You are. I mean, I am horrible in some people's eyes.
I
sure.
believe everyone out in the world is horrible.
Yeah.
I believe everyone's 100% good too. The only reason I think that is because it chooses
themselves.
what side we want to play.
Why be mean when
Do you
it
want to
takes
be heads
more
or
effort?
tails is the true question.
Why be evil if it takes more effort? That's always my question.
You think it takes more effort? to
Oh,
be pissed
for
off?
sure, dude. You have to sit there and think, Jim's having a bad day. I shouldn't say hi to him, right? That's an evil thought. That's a negative thought. I would see someone having a bad day and I would say like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even think about it.
But that's who you
That
are.
is one way
I know.
of thinking, because it is easier.
It's easier just to go
Because
with the flow and say hi to
Going
everyone.
with the flow and being nice, you don't have to think about that.
I don't think about a
You
thing.
do have to, because it is easier,
You're locking-
because you don't have to say hi to Jim.
You're
but
locking down a certain scenario that has magnitudes for two different people, basically. There's the you version that says, I might as well ask him how he's doing, and there's another person that sees that as a basically a tasking task. You know what I mean?
Like it's a chore to say hi. It's a fucking
chore that I have to go. Why do I have to go out of my way and do that? That's because
So that's a negative thought.
But exactly. But the way you're saying, like I said, it works for you. It doesn't work for everyone. Like I said, you can use the best description of this as playing the angel and devil on your shoulder. Which one do you choose you want to follow? Which one do you want to display out into public? Which one do you want to be? Because either way, it's someone's going to see you. You can't just fly middle compass. Yeah, you can be like, oh, you look good, and then the next thing you know, be like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. Like, okay, you got to choose a side. It's just like when you see someone driving in the middle of the road. Pick a lane, motherfucker. That's what it is. Okay. I don't mean to use like that language to sum that all up, but it's like seriously, it's like. You gotta pick a lane in life. You gotta pick a lane in what you want to do. You can't just ride middle of the road and think you're gonna get somewhere.
But like,
it's not gonna happen. Eventually, there's going to be a left, and eventually, there's going to be a right. There's going to be a fork in the road. You can't
make your own road, bitch. That's what I'm saying.
That's going like in the proper path of what I would say would be. That's make your own road.
Well, there's two roads that you can follow, but you have a plow on the front of your car. So you plow through the middle.
Why happens if there's a giant sturdy oak in the middle?
Just hope your car can get through.
Is that all we're doing in life, is just praying we can get through?
No, there's people who follow the paths, and then there's people who hope they can get through.
And ram it to a fucking tree. Driving the new Tesla.
I mean, I passed the tree. If we're talking in terms of theoretical...
fly or some shit?
No, but I like to be an asshole to people, but I'm also, like, if they need me, I'll be there for them. You know, and like, I'll say hi, I'll go out of my way to say hi to people. When I get to know them, I'll start to be more of an asshole to them because it's fun, and they enjoy it.
Some people do need that kind of thing.
They do need it.
Because you don't need to be a goody two-shoes, like, hey, hi, how are you? Like, you can't, like, some people just like that kind of personality, like a confident douchebag, but who is a nice guy.
I gotta say this before I lose it. When you say this scenario, what about walking into a store? Are you going to sit there and hold the door for the old man Jim that's walking all the way across the fucking parking lot and it's going to take him a half hour to get to the fucking door?
If it was a choice between two roads, yes, you would, because you would go down the good road and you'd say, I'm going to be good no matter what. But it's a gray area. There's not
But some people would look at that and see you making an old man suffer to walk up to the door when you should easily go up there and help him to the door.
Because they're down the other road more. And
but that's all in your opinionistic view. Someone's going to look at you also as seeing a good kid opening up a door for somebody. You don't know how many times I've been told, I wouldn't think you'd do that since your age. Why is it my age that's stereotyped in this way? Because it seems like those are the ones that are closest to nihilism.
Positive and negative outlooks, man. Those two things are gray.
Now, do you wish to have a negative outlook on life? Life is going to be shitty. So
no, I always have a positive.
Yeah, you want to take a positive outlook on life. You have to take a positive outlook on life because the world's going to look like shit if you're looking at it through shit goggles. Take the shit goggles off, put on your fucking Ray-Bans, and enjoy the fucking view.
Well, that's what I do, my man.
You like that?
You're completely correct.
Evan put on his White Castle Ray-Bans.
White Castle.
You know they're building one down
like
here.
A bold.
When?
No.
Next to the Chick-fil-A?
No.
That's what's rumored.
Kidding.
Yeah, that's what's rumored.
Oh my god,
dude! I'm gonna get a progressive meal: one Chick-fil-A sandwich,
I don't think it's that good,
burgers, and a Chipotle burrito.
I don't think White Castle's that good.
Oh. It's not good.
In-N-Out Burger's not good either. I don't know what people do the hype about. They always complain that the burgers are massive. First of all, no, they're freaking not.
They're not?
They're not.
They're
the size
on the same level or lesser than McDonald's.
Yeah.
But it's fucking White Castle.
I want to interview someone from McDonald's or Burger King, but mostly McDonald's, and ask why the hell their ice cream machine is always broken.
I don't know.
Because they don't want to clean it.
Exactly. And I also want to interview on someone that works the late night shift at the drive-in Taco Bell. So if any of you guys are near a Taco Bell, either you, Chris, or Evan, at night, ask them if they will do my podcast. Or anybody out there listening that might work.
I wish there was a...
Anybody that works in the fast food industry, can you get me one of those people?
I went to a Taco Bell at 2 a.m. and I sang with my roommates in college, and we sang an entire song to the employee who was there because she was all alone, and she was like, I don't want to do my orders anymore. And we had like 3 cars behind us, so instead of getting our order and driving off, we got our order and started singing.
What'd you sing?
I think we sung the...
You were in an a cappella group, weren't you?
I was in choir.
Which was like an a cappella type thing.
Well, it is a cappella.
I thought you were a bunch of group of guys in a group singing together.
No. You have girls normally who are sopranos and altos, and then...
Yeah, choir is not a... usually not a
start like a
gender
barbershop
specific.
quartet.
I'm always down to start any musical thing ever. So just let me know.
Are you that inspired by music?
I love music.
Why don't you think of some topics we can do for fill in the blank for like tonight or something? Shit.
Dude, because I work at 6 and I woke up at 9 after going
I
to
was
bed
up at 3 in the morning writing a 3,000 word paper.
I couldn't sleep till 5 because I was having fucking spiritual connections.
With what?
I was thinking of, like, my middle school moments with all my friends, and then all of a sudden my forehead started tingling. And I was like, uh-oh, what's going on here?
Why didn't you shoot me a text? I would have helped you out there.
Because I was in the middle of a spiritual fucking awakening at 5 a.m.
Have your spiritual enlightenment while I'm recording. So you can remember that shit.
If I opened my eyes, I was afraid I was going to lose it, though.
I've been having fucking dreams about, like, Momo. That fucking...
Why?
Thing from Avatar?
No.
Momo.
I wish. That would be... I might now. Hopefully... Momo from Avatar comes and beats the shit out of this Momo creature.
The giant eyes or something.
Yeah.
It's the weird, like it's the new retarded spooky Duke that tells kids to kill themselves. Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
It's the new Slender Man.
Like, it's not even scary. It doesn't make the dream scary. It just pisses me off. Because, like, yesterday I had a dream where it was, like, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and, like, a friend was coming over, and I was like, oh, I need to, like, not do this, but he's gonna be here for a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
and then the Momo creature sticks its head around the corner, and it's like, oh my god.
You know what the saddest thing about that is?
What?
Most people think that if you played Dungeons and Dragons, you're a geek, but you had a dream about playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's like having a dream of yourself playing video games. Like, just wake the fuck up and go in your video game.
Dude, I had a dream where I was playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 and my character fell off the edge and then I fell through my floor. Into, like, an abyssal darkness.
That's a lucid dream or some shit. That's like a... Remember we talked about dreams?
Yes.
There's that micro sleep shit where you fall asleep in the middle while you're driving and stuff. Well,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure we probably all have experienced that. But then lucid dreaming, where it's the ability to be able to control your dream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you realize you're in a dream and then slowly start flying and doing stuff like that. Like, those types of things. You look like you're about to experience micro sleep right now.
Dude, I'm not that tired. Give me, like, 3 days
You're up at 5 in the morning, up till 5 in the morning having spiritual
really
dreams.
Not that tired, man. I'm telling you right now.
It's this fucking thing.
I know what it is. I saw it
Pisses
this
me
morning
off.
on Facebook. It's all over the place.
Because I'm past the point where it's scary anymore. Because, like, if I was, like, 14 and I had that dream, I would have been like... But it's just annoying now. Like, I'm at the innocence lost stage of my life, where I'm not scared of spooky dukes anymore.
Your innocence was lost when you were set into this world.
Yeah.
As soon as you become in this world, it's just like when you go into a different country and the air is, like, thicker because there's more pollution. That's what it is.
Or less.
As soon as you come into this world, you are literally no longer pure. You are stained with everything from humanity and everything from what we've done to it.
I went over to Norway for the first time, and I came back, and I had my first... Dude, it's not even on the same planet. Like, I came back to America, I went to New York City, and the first thing I ate was, like, I think a cheeseburger, and I felt heavy as shit, I couldn't breathe right. Because, like, the air quality in Norway is so good, and, like, their fucking dinners are, like, bread with fruit.
You know what's crazy is if you go to Italy, their pasta, if you eat that pasta there, they're all skinny, though.
Yeah.
But they eat pasta, like, every meal.
Because they also bike everywhere.
We say big fat Italians, that's only, like, Americanized Italians, dude.
Italians walk around everywhere, they take public transport,
better.
And they...
Yeah, they actually get exercise.
They eat healthy.
I'm going to eat a pasta alla Zulu and I'm going to watch my shows. That's what we do here. And it's like, it seems like every time we try and incorporate something into America, it immediately gets tainted in a way.
Yeah, because people are lazy shits here.
Chinese food doesn't taste the same. Japanese food doesn't taste the same. Why do we call it that food?
Because someone from China came and they wanted to make money.
But you can't say it's sushi because it's not. Not all things that is known as Chinese food is considered sushi, but it's such a broad term.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had Haitian food. That stuff's amazing.
Ooh.
It's like, it's a whole nother thing with a real Haitian woman that cooked it for me. She works at my hotel. And she cooked me this, I think she's cooking me goat next week.
Oh my
But,
god.
dude, I never had goat before. I had it.
Goat is good.
Black beans and rice. She's like, I cook for you. I cook for your whole family. I feed your whole family. I'm like, fuck my family, feed me. Shit. I don't eat that stuff, but I'll be willing to try it. And she made a black bean sauce that was but everything was so fresh. Like, back in Haiti, I used to own a restaurant, a very, 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 very Haitian restaurant. I was like, oh my god, we need to open you up one here.
Yeah, for real.
Too expensive.
Mm.
It's just
I'm starving.
It's crazy.
I haven't eaten breakfast yet. We might have to end soon because I need to go
dying.
get food.
Do you just want to keep rolling while we go get food?
If we're going to Chick-fil-A, yes.
Why? Are you going to sing to the people there?
Yes. No, I really want Chick-fil-A. And that's that's a bargaining point. I didn't even think of that, but now that I think back as to what I said, it's like you're more willing to go to Chick-fil-A if my conditions are that we go to Chick-fil-A. And
God, you talking about that black bean stuff makes me want to go to Plaza. Just like, I just want some
Plaza
beans.
Tapa tea. Yeah. Dude, I only go there on Tuesday. Is today Tuesday?
It is.
Yeah.
I can't go to work drunk. That's like dollar margaritas today.
I can't go to work drunk. You can.
I can, but I don't want to.
I'm pretty sure there's some construction workers out there that can argue that. And they're doing a pretty freaking dangerous job.
Yeah, well, nowadays they got safety harnesses and
It's
shit.
just Mountain Dew. Jim's been hanging there for 45 minutes. I got another hour on my shift. All right, well, we'll wrap up this episode of Out of the Blank. Thanks again for being on.
Dude, thank you for having me. It's
always so
fun.
Revenge of the Geeks Part 2.
What time is it? How much time?
12 o'clock.
Jesus!
Yeah, we just spent like 2 hours on this.
Talking about dead babies and other things. Trying to wrap up to some smart conclusion. Thanks again, guys.
Peace.
Peace, dude.